talking about riser bars, we need to understand what rise is. So rise is obviously centre of the clamp to the top of the handlebars. But what are you trying to achieve with rise is a totally different story, because you'll notice that downhillers only run 20mm rise bars as a whole. Yes, there is Dakota Norton with his 75mm bars, but I think that was more to do with the Mondraker having a low stack. You know, you have to change your bars to help you with a situation. So like on my hardtail, I'm running 70mm rise bars, but it's got a very low stack. It's 27 front and it's running a 140 fork. So to get the hands in the position I wanted them, I've had to go up on the rise of the bars. So when you change the rise, that will put your weight further back, so your body becomes more up and open. So not necessarily good if you're racing sort of cross-country type things, but if you're just enjoying your ride, it will take the weight off the palms and it will move it back a bit slightly onto the seat, which is why these bars exist for the main. Another reason why to choose a riser bar instead of adding stack to your under your stem is that when you add stack, you shorten the bike, because the fork tube's at an angle, and the more you add it, the more it brings the bars back. Whereas if you lower the stem and then add 10mm on the bars, you don't lose any reach on the bike and you just gain stack. So that's why I generally ride riser bars, because I'm tall, I want to keep my reach, but I want the bars up. So I go low stem, high bar. So we now know that rise lifts our head up, lifts our body up, puts the weight a bit further back on the bike, takes a little bit of weight off your hands. So what does upsweep do? So upsweep is just to make your hand in a better position for pulling and pushing. And from what I can see, 5 degrees is it. There's a few bars at 4, there's 1 or 2 at 6, but 90% or more of handlebars are 5 degrees. And that must be just because they've come to that conclusion. I can't find many bars at all that are different to 5 degrees upsweep. So the upsweep is just to put your wrists in a better position for you to grip, so you're not cranking your hand too much to get a good positive push and pull on the bar. So now we need to talk back sweep. So back sweep is the amount that the bar bends away from the steerer and back sweep. So back sweep can really be summed up as how long and how aggressive you're going to ride the bike. So if you're a downhiller, you're going to be running something like a 7mm sweep, because you want the bars to be a bit flatter so you can compress and push more without manipulating your ankle more and leaving you more room between your knees and your hands and the bike. So because if you go more sweep, your elbows will come in eventually, and then that starts to limit when it gets rowdy and you can come into contact with your own body and make things harder for yourself. So the things to watch with sweep are too much, you're going to trap the ulnar nerve, which goes down the side of your wrist and into your little finger, and some of it into the ring finger. And once you start trapping that, this is where you get cramp in your hand and you lose the grip in your fingers, and it starts to, you have to shake it out, and that's because your wrist is too bent. So that's something really important to watch. So too much sweep, it's going to trap you, but a certain amount of sweep is more comfortable. So a downhiller is going to spend 5 minutes on his bike, whereas someone doing a 6-hour ride is probably going to look at 9mm sweep, and someone downhilling is going to look at 7mm sweep, and then somewhere in the middle, 8mm, which is about my preferred. You're just in the middle of the two, so you can be a bit aggressive, but it's not totally uncomfortable. So you've got to remember that a downhiller's not looking for comfort, he's looking for speed, and he's got to be able to flex the bike under himself, whereas casual riders, a little bit more back sweep, it's just more comfortable, and you're not going to run out of too much room because you're not doing what they're doing, sort of thing. So back sweep can be good, but too much can sometimes hamper what you feel like, and as you'll see on like commuter bikes, they go right back to sort of 35 degrees, but that would be no good for braking and trying to hold on going down steep stuff. So you've got 7, 8, 9, 7 more to downhill, 9 more to leisure riding, 8 somewhere in the middle. The last measurement we're looking at is bar thickness. So 35mm is the norm nowadays. It used to be 31.8 and even 25.4. But now we're really looking at 35 and then a thinner bar at 31.8. So the advantage, disadvantage is that a 31.8 will flex a bit more than a 35 in the same material and the same wall thickness, just a different diameter. You just got a bigger tube, it just is harder to bend. But then obviously you can have 35mm in carbon, and then they can engineer the flex into the bar, because carbon is a lot easier to work on when you're trying to give it properties that you're after. So you can put less overlap on the carbon or more overlap on the carbon, make it feel how you want. So some carbon bars are very nicely tuned, but I find them tuned to people probably lighter than me, so I've never really got on with them. The Renthal fat bars are okay, but some of the other 31.8 bars I didn't like the feel of at all, but that's just personal preference. So the thinner the bar at the clamp, the little bit more flex you get, so it could again soften up for your hands slightly. It allows me, being heavy rider, to run more fork pressure and a stiffer compression, and it just knocks the edge off it sometimes. I don't mind 35mm bars, but if I go bike parks, 31.8 is a lot nicer on fast runs, especially over brake bumps, things like that. It really does stop some of the jarring. So now we know what the measurements are, or what we're looking for. There's just a whole host of bars. This is just a small sample that you can get. There is quite literally hundreds. Even Darety have got 3 ranges in 3 different sizes, and it's just a minefield. But you need to think about what bar you've got and what you're looking for to change when you do it. If you just want to go up, find out the spec of your bar that comes on your bike and then just go up. But if you want to go up and be a little bit more comfortable, then go a little bit more back sweep. If you want to go up and you're getting a little bit of hand tingling or whatever, try just straightening the bar just that little bit. 1 degree of back sweep is about 4mm of reach. So as you go back out, you will lengthen the bike slightly. So 2 degrees could be as much as 8mm more reach. So that could help open your body out a bit. Your body doesn't work well cramped in. It works far better neutral. So you need to grab the bars and think, you can't feel anything's too tight, and that will help with longer rides especially. So I hope that helps. Obviously everyone's different, they've got different comforts and different whatever, but the bars are there to help you. If you work out what your problem is, you should be able to find a bar that solves it a little bit. Hopefully in the future we'll do a video where we try different bars on the same bike on the same track to see what the difference actually feel like in the real world, but that's for another day. Thank you.